All right, we press the go live, and as always, I need to double check and make sure that it's actually showing up on my screen here. So give me just a second. Yes, and we are, yay, hello. Let me zoom in on this video so that I can see the questions, because for whatever reason, it doesn't show up correctly on my Facebook. Okay, hello, welcome everybody. I see some people popping in. Welcome, guys. We'll give just a few seconds for people to come in because I do know that there's a lot of people that are definitely wanting to watch this video. We of course have your mother-in-law, family members, my former boss. So hello everybody, welcome. Thank you guys so much for following this journey with me. My name is Erica Sova, and I have been doing these small business owner interviews for the past 3 weeks. I pre-selected these 10 business owners before I started promoting this, and I wanted to make sure that these business owners were from different places or from different industries. As you can see, I've been very dynamic and in the people that I've been interviewing. And so today I am interviewing Brianna Strawn. She is, I met her a few years ago through Chris Soba, father of my kids. And they are cousins. Well, technically she's his cousin by marriage, and they have 2 beautiful babies. In fact, guys, I need to just point out, look at how beautiful she is. She just had a baby. And she's just absolutely a doll. She's got 2 little girls. And so I'm just so grateful, Brie, that you're able to come and do this interview with me, knowing that you have 2 little ones. So I really appreciate that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it because I'm really excited to hear this story about her online clothing boutique that she created. She actually co-founded with someone, and we can get into that a little bit later, but started it in 2017, created this Facebook group where people would come and invite in. And I was just amazed by her marketing and all the different things that she was doing, the promotionals. And I won't steal her story too much, but she is now up to almost 30,000 members, now has an app for people to purchase the stuff. And it all started because she likes fashion. So without further ado, let's take it away. Brie, welcome. Thank you so much. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, thank you for asking me here. So I own an online clothing boutique. I mainly carry women's clothing, accessories, shoes, and then I occasionally have kids' items as well, but I pretty much just focus on women's clothing. It's all online. It's run through Facebook. I have a mobile app, and then I also have a website. So no brick and mortar, it's all online shopping.
Yeah, and tell me, I know I had mentioned that you like fashion, but can you tell me, like,
Yes.
how did this conversation happen? Did you wake up one day and you were like, I think I'm gonna start a clothing business? Tell me about that.
It's kind of a crazy story. So about 4 years ago, the conversation started to happen. I was in school full-time in college, and I was working as a full-time nanny as well. And the mom and I that I used to nanny for, we actually started it together. We started shopping at this online clothing boutique that was run on Facebook. And it was awesome because she had boutique brands, but they were priced at like Target prices. So they were affordable, because you go into a boutique and you're going to pay $50 for a top. You go to Target, you pay $20. So you'd much rather pay $20 for a top. So we were like, wow, this is such an awesome idea. We were ordering from her all the time. And we just realized we had some frustrations with the whole process, and we would order something, we would get a tracking number, we'd have no idea when we were going to get our items, and then like 2 weeks later we would get our clothes crumpled up in a bag, and we were just like, okay, this is a really good idea, but the execution, like, we could do this so much better. And so every day I'd come into work and she'd have on a cute top, and we would talk about this boutique and how it was so great, like the idea was amazing, but we were just frustrated with some of the processes. We kind of were just like joking about it for a while that we could do it better, you know? And this conversation happened for a really long time where we weren't really like, I never really knew if she was being serious. She never knew if I was being serious. Like, it was just kind of like we'd throw it around all the time. So it probably took like 6 months before we really even like made it happen. And then once we got the ball rolling, it took even longer. I'm sure you know, like you have to form an LLC, like it just takes a little bit of time. So we finally became like an LLC in February of 2017. And then we had our first sale in March of 2017. So it took a good while after we kind of had the idea. But yes, so to get back to your question, that idea came from, we love shopping at this boutique, but we just were frustrated.
Hey, and it's awesome. You saw something that, was a market that was interesting to you, and you were like, I can do this better. When you say that, are you referring to providing better clothing? Are you referring to customer service? Like, what is it that you thought you could do better?
Her whole process. I don't mean to like dog on this person.
No, you're good, girl. You own it. Own it, girl.
So the whole process, just like the customer service, the not really communicating. Her clothes were awesome. We were very happy with the clothes. We were so happy with the price. It was just like the customer service aspect of it where we knew that we could just handle that part a little bit better and maybe be slightly more professional and have people feel like they're shopping at an actual boutique and not just, someone's fun side thing.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that, and I appreciate that, and I love that. Customer service has been a common theme with all of my interviews, and I'm so sure that is a reason why all of you guys are successful. Can you talk as you started, and let me clarify one thing, Brie, when you guys like made that official decision all the way to February, what was that time frame?
Oh gosh, I don't even.
Like 3 months, 6 months, a year?
Yeah, before we actually started. So the whole like legal process of it probably only took like 2 months. But the conversation of it, the trying to figure out how we were going to do it, because we went in on it together, and I was a broke college student. So it took us a while to try out how we were going to be able to start a 50-50 business because I was broke as a joke. So we had to wait until I could get a tax return, and it was this whole process. So we probably started talking about it in August, and then we became incorporated in February. And then, so that was about 6 months. And then it took us a while we had to go and start a bank account. And then we had to wait for our debit cards, which was 2 weeks to get our debit cards. And then we had to wait for our orders to come in. That's why from February to March, it took a while to be able to get started. And I think we actually started with a pre-order because we still didn't have our stuff in. It takes a little while to get the clothes in, but we had started the group and everyone was like buzzing about it. Everyone was excited. So we're like, we gotta get in while everyone's
hyped.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. One thing that you said, and if you're watching this and you have any questions for Brie, please make sure that you ask them in the comments below the video, and she'll definitely answer the questions towards the end. But if you're watching this and you're thinking about starting your own business and you're like, I don't have enough money, a broke college kid started a business and is now super successful. So that's not an excuse anymore, buddy. So thanks for telling us that. That's very encouraging. Now, granted, you had a partner to help you, but you found resources. And so that's such a huge thing. Like if that's something that you're lacking, figure out how to get it, because there's always, where there's a will, there's a way. Can you tell us a little bit more, Brie, as you started this, like what were the ups and downs? Like what was the fun things, but what was also the challenging things?
So I think we started it and we had no idea how big it was going to get, and it got really big really fast. So we weren't quite prepared for that growth. We were literally doing it out of it. So it was the mom I used to nanny for. Her name was Steph. So we were doing it out of her bedroom. We had the clothes in her bedroom, like against her side wall. And we were she was pulling items, and then while the girls would nap, I would pack them because I was still nannying too. So yeah, like I said, we just weren't quite prepared for the growth. So it was just the two of us. We would do the release, and then I would watch the comments and try to keep track of when it would sell out. And then as soon as it sold out, I would turn off the comments. I'm sure you remember, you were buying with us at this time.
Yeah.
But so I would turn the comments off and be like, it's sold out. And then Steph that night would have to go in and invoice every single person or something, and I would write down who got what and then text her who got this item, and she would invoice them. And it was just like there was so much room for human error because we were moving so much more product than we realized we were going to. So that was definitely a down, was just one, how much time it was taking us every night to go through. And I mean, she had kiddos and she's having to like stalk her phone to get these things posted on time, and then spend hours invoicing after she got them down for bed. So that was a huge down, was we just weren't quite ready for that. We weren't prepared for that. And I think that I probably would have tried to find an easier way to invoice a lot sooner than we did.
That sounds like a lot of work, girl.
It was so fun and so exhilarating, but like have a post, I would just be like watching and amazed but yeah, that was definitely a down, was not having a good automated way to take the human error out and to really just save you time.
Yeah. And isn't that what we're all trying to do?
Yes.
So you are now, though, the official owner.
Yep.
The official sole owner. And I believe
Yep.
Stephanie went and started a new business,
Yep.
popcorn.
So 2 years now.
2 years. And all that stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. So now you are the sole owner, and how does that feel being by yourself doing this?
At first it was intimidating. Steph was an awesome resource, and she was a business lawyer before doing this. So she really understood the business side of this all really well. So she was a great resource. And before she left, she really passed down a lot of the knowledge. So I am so thankful for that. But it was definitely intimidating. I was pregnant with my first daughter when I bought her out. So it was kind of a stressful time already. I was about to have a baby, and then I was taking a business on completely by myself. But now I'm just proud of where it is, and I love it.
Well, heck yeah, that's awesome. And if you are following along and you have any questions, or you're just now joining us, make sure that you type your questions below, and we will make sure to get to that. I do know that we've got a lot of people here saying hello. I'm seeing your comments. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to get to my next question. Let's talk about growth.
Yes.
You grew fast. Why? Yeah. Tell me, what was it that you were doing or saying or posting that made you grow like that?
So when we started, there weren't a lot of online boutiques. There weren't a lot of people doing what we were doing. And I think that was a huge advantage for us, is people were excited to be able to get these nice clothes at a price that they could actually afford. We grew a lot from word of mouth. We didn't really do any actual advertising. I've done a couple boosted posts on Facebook. I'm sure you know about those, but honestly, a lot of our growth has been strictly word of mouth, people passing along. I love the clothes, and we've done at the beginning, we did a lot of like grow the group challenges. So if you're on Facebook, you've probably seen stuff like this. So there was one time where I gave away a trip to Missouri's wine country. So it's like add 5 friends and you get entered into this drawing. So they got entered to this drawing, and I had all these big prizes, and I was just these prizes for every day for a week. Like I gave away a Roomba, I gave away shop free for a year. Just prizes that people would actually want. So they were adding their friends and saying, hey, check this boutique out, blah, blah, blah. I've also done a couple where people will get credit if they post a personal page, so then their friends have the option to join. I noticed after a while, some people just don't like being added to a group, and now Facebook makes them join. You don't just get added into a group. So doing that kind of growth hasn't really worked for me anymore. So I have to do more of like, give your friends the choice. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Now that you've been in this for, what is that, 3 years now? 2017?
Mhm.
3 years now. I'm sorry, let me get my calculator out real quick. Now that you've been in this for 3 years, what 3 things would you have done differently?
So like I said, one of them would have just been more prepared. And then another thing that I think I really had to learn the hard way was to not take things so personally. I don't know if that makes sense, but
That's interesting. Tell me more about that.
well, it's so I've had a lot of people that will join the boutique and they're boutique owners and they'll watch the posts and then they'll try to poach my best customer. If that makes sense. And that has happened a lot. Surprisingly, it sounds kind of like a shady way to do business, but it has happened way more than you would even. So at the beginning, I would have people message me and be like, "Hey, this person just added me and tried to add their boutique. Like, I'm guessing that they're also in your boutique, so I'm guessing that's how they found me." And that used to like really hurt my feelings. I would be like, "I worked so hard for this. I worked so hard for these loyal customers. Like, you should do the work too,
Right.
like it used to really bug me. So that is one of the things that I'm
And
saying.
now your response is like, I don't care.
Let them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's anyone can have a boutique if they want to have a boutique. So that was way back in the beginning. I remember getting like upset about stuff like that. And now it's just, you got to brush stuff off your shoulder. And then, I don't want to say don't take things personally, like on a customer service basis, because I will always care about how my customers feel. So when I said that, hopefully you didn't take it that way.
Oh no, no. I'm talking about being a business owner in the business, So
Yeah.
I get what I meant.
Yeah, you just gotta let people do what they'll figure it out. And honestly, I mean, people can shop wherever they want to shop. They don't have to shop with me, but
So don't take things personally, be prepared. And then what was the third thing?
I don't know. So another down, let me think. I would say this business just it ebbs and flows a lot. So there's of course going to be times where things are just like flying off the shelves, and then there's really slow months. Um, so I use a system now called Comment Soul invoice for me. And I was talking to one of my account representatives, and she was saying every month that ends in Y is usually a slow month for people, and it's really true. July always really slow, January, February, because those are kind of like the changings of the seasons, if that makes sense. So when it comes to July, people have seen spring and summer stuff for so long, they're hot, they're tired of it, they're ready for fall. So they're not really buying much in July. And then in August, as soon as I can do a fall release, things start to fly off the shelves again. And so we just kind of had that again. April was in a month, and of course February and January were really slow because people are over winter. So that has been a hard thing for me to get used to. Now that I've been in it for 3 whole years, I've seen the pattern, and I know it's okay that this is a slow month. I'll pick up, and the good months balance out the bad months.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and now that you know that that's a pattern, from a marketing, as I'm hearing this as a marketing standpoint, I'm like, that's when you start putting all your resources into that particular season, that kickoff, your release party, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can be really, truly taking advantage of if you know that that's a high trail.
Yeah.
I know this isn't part of questions, but I do know that at one point you did have a location.
Yes.
After you moved from Stephanie's bedroom.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that? I'm interested to hear how that went, because you're no longer in a building. You're now in your basement.
Yep.
Again. So can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so when we were doing it out of Stephanie's house, I think it's just a lot to ask for someone to run a business out of their house. She had 3 kids. We were doing it in her bedroom, and then we had it was her kids' playroom, and then it turned into our packing and shipping room. And we moved it to her basement, but then her kids wanted to have a bounce house. Like, there's just not it's a lot to ask. You're constantly having boxes come in, you're having to have packages out. So she wanted to move it to the location, and I completely understood why she would want that. We really did outgrow the space that we had.
No, I remember seeing pictures of you posting like tons and tons of just boxes stacked on top of each other. And you take a picture and be like, all right, ladies, your clothes are coming. I'm like, golly, that's a lot.
It's a lot of work. So we definitely outgrew her house, her space that she had available. So we looked into getting this location in downtown, which is a really cute little area. It's kind of like a historic area.
And it was downtown what? You cut out for a second.
Parkville.
Downtown Parkville. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where you live, so that makes sense.
Yes.
Or was it?
It was, not anymore, but
yeah, keep going.
So we got the location in downtown Parkville. It was huge. It was way more space than we needed. Honestly, every single location that we were looking at was way more than what we needed. We really just needed a place to store the clothes and to pack and ship. We didn't really want to do a whole brick and mortar come in and shop, just because overhead that is. You have to pay someone to be there all the time, and we weren't used to having to pay that, and really didn't want the overhead cost of a brick and mortar shop. So we got this massive location in downtown Parkville, and we filled it up really quick. And we had that for a year, and I had Brinley, my first daughter, in September. Our lease was up in January. So every day I was carting my daughter to the boutique with me, and I had like her own swing and bouncy chair at the location, and I would just work with her, and it was a pain. And I realized that I was spending a lot of money to have this location, and I really didn't need it because I had my whole entire basement that we weren't using for anything else. And so once our lease was up, I moved it back home, and it was so much easier for me because my overhead costs went down a ton. Just having to pay rent and renter's insurance and utilities, I mean, it all adds up. So overhead costs went down a ton. And then I also was able to work when my kiddo was sleeping instead of having to try to work with her awake. And so, I would put her to bed and I would go downstairs and pull orders, and I would be downstairs until like midnight. But it made my life so much easier because it was right there at my fingertips, and I could get an email from a customer and I could just run right downstairs and check on whatever it was that they were asking about, instead of them asking about a certain item and me having to drive back up to the store if I wasn't there, something like that. So we moved it to the basement, and then I was like, we have plenty of room. This is great. And then we outgrew my basement. So we started looking for houses with just wide open basements. And so we moved in November of this year into a new house, and literally my whole basement is packed full with boutique stuff. But
hey, but that's your office.
Yep.
I love it. Do you find, because I now work from home, and well, everybody I feel like during this pandemic is working from home, but do you find that it's hard to like disconnect since your office is like right there?
So since it is in the basement, it's a whole different part of my house, and we don't come down here for anything else because it's all boutique. Okay. So when I come down here, I'm just kind of like in my zone. But the hard thing is I am also a full-time stay-at-home mom. So Brie always with me. So if I come down here and it's on a day that TJ's off work or something and she hears me here, she doesn't let me come down here by myself. She has to be down here with me. So that's the hardest. I can really only come downstairs to work when she's napping or sleeping. Or I can come down here, but I have to be okay. So I have everything organized. All my clothes are organized in bins, and I have sticky notes on the outside of the bins to tell me what is in those bins. And so if she comes down here, I have to be okay with her ripping every single sticky note off of my bins and then me trying to figure out where they go. So
life with toddlers. Well, if you're watching, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in. But if you have any questions for Brie, make sure that you type them in the comments below. I do see a few of them, and we are going to get to those. But let me ask just one last question to you, Brie. As you've been a small business owner for the past 3 years, and also with 2 kids, full-time mommy, full-time wife, what have you learned about yourself?
This is such a hard question. I think that what I have learned the most about myself is that I am a little bit resilient than I realized I was. Having a business is really hard. Like I said, it ebbs and flows. There's so many months where I'm just like, I'm down and I try not to get discouraged. But there's been a lot of times that I could have quit, but of course I love this business so much. And that's the most important thing, is the the job when I actually am working, I get to shop for my job. Like, how fun is that? There's nothing that would ever bring me so much joy. And I think that that is why I have been so resilient and not given up. And whenever times are hard, I try to like dig down and pick it back up, you know? So that's
Yeah.
probably one of the biggest things that I've learned about myself is it's so easy to just quit, but diving in and working hard is much more rewarding.
Yeah. Resiliency. Yeah, I know that you watched Brett Beitler's With Kids Are Kids
Mm-hmm.
interview, and man, when he started talking about his first opening his business and every bad possible thing that happened to him, and just the resiliency, fighting through it and overcoming it and learning through it. I think that it's not until you have the hard times that you do learn something. That's where the learning happens, and
Mm-hmm.
you've learned a lot, and here you are,
Yeah.
proud of
Well,
what
and
you
I think
do.
that that's why it's so important to pick something that you really are passionate about. So if you are going to start a business, it has to be something that you actually love doing because you have to put your whole self into it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And that's why I'm excited about my business,
Yeah.
right? I get to talk about marketing, and girl, when I talk about marketing, I'm like, all right, somebody fan me because I'm getting fired up right now. So that's great. Yeah, you have to be passionate, absolutely. So let me go through and see my questions and comments here. I see we've got a ton of people that tuned in, which is great. We have let's see, Natalie Owens saying hello. Hi.
Natalie's my employee. She's awesome.
Oh, love that. Oh, how many employees do you have?
So Natalie is my main employee. She comes and she helps pack. She was coming every day, and then once the whole pandemic stuff happened, once it first started happening, we dropped her down to Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then once it started to get bad, she stayed at home, and me and TJ really took over that she was doing. So she just started back this week and she's coming Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So she's my main employee. And then I have one model, Keely, who's been coming as well. She hasn't come since March, since the whole, but yes, so two outside of me.
Got it. Got it. Okay. We have, I don't know, the last name is Calso. Hello. Hi. My mom is tuning in. She said, how did you pick the designers that the clothes would definitely be an easy sell?
That's a good question. So that has been a lot of trial and error. We've gotten a lot of stuff from designers that I order everything online. So that's the hard part. Everyone that orders stuff online, you can't feel the item. Sometimes things look different on other people. So really picking designers has been just one of the growing pains. There's been some designers that have been huge flops. And then there's been some vendors that now that I'm 3 years into it, I have my main vendors. I almost always order through the same people. And 3 years into it, I've built a lot of really awesome relationships with the vendors. So that's just part of the growing pains. It's hard to know until you order. So
Yeah. Yeah. My sister Annette, she says, have you ever read Girl Boss, the story behind Nasty Gal? And if so, what takeaways did you find based on her online retail startup experience?
So I have that book. I have not read it. I have the Girl Boss boutique version. So yeah, I haven't read it yet, so I can't really dig into that.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're asking if a mother of two children, a toddler,
Exactly.
it has read anything while running a full-time business outside of her business, bye,
I
please,
really
thank you.
want to. I have good intentions, but I just have a hard time finding the time. So
We have Amanda here. She said earlier when we were talking about your system, she said processes are everything. And that is so true.
yeah.
You have your mother-in-law. I'm proud of you both. Killer business beauties.
Yes, girl.
Chandler, she says, hi, Brie and Erica. Was it always the plan to have Brie take over as a full-time owner? Ooh, good question.
That is a good question. No, it was not the plan at all. No. So Steph and I were talking one day and she didn't quite have the passion. I think we started the business. I think that for her, it was more of like, yeah, this is a really good idea. She's making a lot of money. Like this is an awesome business. It can help support my family idea for her. And for me, it was like, I love clothes. I love shopping, like that was more. So she made a comment to me, like she couldn't see herself doing this 5 years from now. And she really didn't have a passion for clothes. And so I went home and I was talking to TJ, my husband, about it that night. And I really love what I'm doing and I want to keep doing it. And I don't want it to just fizzle out in a few years. And so we talked about, like I said, I was pregnant when this was all happening. So we talked about how we could make it work and how we can make it work financially to be able to buy her out, et cetera, et cetera. So then the next I went to her and I offered her what TJ and I had talked about. And she was like, yeah, let me think on it. And then she came back to me, counter offered. And so that's how it happened, really. There was no plan to eventually have me do it. It was just, I loved what I was doing and I didn't want to ever stop. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. Next question from Clarissa. It says, when you started out, were you more focused on growing the group or getting your current customers to buy again? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a really good question. I think when we started out, we had a pretty good split focus, I feel like, and you actually gave us a really good idea to add handwritten notes into our packages for our customers. So when we first started, that was more feasible. Now I'm processing a lot more orders, so I have a typed out note that goes in the order.
You're fine, Brie.
But I think that was a really good way that we started to form a relationship with our customers. They realized, like, okay, these are just two women that love what they're doing. And I think it's helpful to see it as not a huge corporation. It's really just these people they're operating this. So that our customers were a huge focus. But I think at the beginning, we probably did focus more on growing the group, only because only one person can only have so many clothing items, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So you have to really get in front of a lot of people to be able to sustain. I can't just have 20 awesome customers and think that I'm going to have a business that's going to go on for forever, because you can only buy so many floral tops. So I do think that we probably focused more on growing the whole group before we really focused on building client relationships. Now I have a lot more focus on the client relationship than I do the growth, probably.
Okay, got it. We have one last question here. So this is from Erin. She says, I'm catching this a little late, so sorry if you said this already, but what is your favorite thing about this business? And then what is your least favorite?
Oh, my favorite thing about this business is probably the relationships that I've formed with all of my customers. I know that sounds so cheesy, but there's so many customers that I never even knew until I started doing this business. And now they're people that I would actually consider friends. They know my story. I know their story. I'm invested in them. If that makes sense. I know that's so silly, but that's my favorite thing. Is I'm really a people person. I'm super social. So, being able to have those relationships is awesome. My least favorite thing is probably to add inventory into my system. It takes forever.
I'd probably hate that part too. We did have another question come in, and this is a really good one. I want you to answer this one. It says, do you have any plans to grow outside of this group and maybe through Facebook ads to your website, do you have a website? I don't think you do, right?
No, so I do have a website, but it's through the system that I use and I really don't like it. So I don't really advertise it a lot just because it's not very good. And so I have the mobile app, and that's probably that's where a majority of my sales come from. And then I also have a link. So that is posted on the Facebook page and you can shop through the account link. So that answers your question about the website. But do I have plans on Facebook ads? Yes, I have done a lot of Facebook ads, but I just haven't gotten a ton of growth from them. So I don't know. I probably need to look into that more, but that'd probably be something that I would outsource and not try to take on myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, stick to what you know and what you're good at, right?
Yeah, I don't know enough
Um,
about targeting the specific demographics and all.
well, I do. So when you're ready, you can hire me to help you with
I
that.
know exactly where to go.
Um, Alrighty. Well, and then Annette says, "Did you two ladies plan on matching tonight?" We didn't actually, but I'm all for this little vibe that we have going
I
on.
love it. Very cohesive.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is it for tonight. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Brie, thank you so much for being a part of this interview. This was fun. I learned a lot. It was really great to hear your story. And if you liked what you heard, if you thought that this was inspiring, please heart the video, show Brie some love. And if you are into fashion and looking for a cute top or a cute dress, then make sure that you follow Seven Streams Boutique on Facebook. It is tagged in my description of the video. Gentlemen, if you are watching, get your mom some clothes, get your sister some clothes, get your girlfriend some clothes, because she's got really cute stuff on there. I'm a customer of hers. I've got some stuff in my closet from her, and it's really great stuff at an affordable price, as she said. And I've gotten compliments on a couple of things that I've worn. So make sure that you check it out. If not, just like her page and keep scrolling until you see something that you do like. So once again, thank you, Brie, for participating and answering all these questions. And thank you guys for watching. We do have another interview this week. It is happening Thursday, May 21st, at same time, 7:30 p.m. Central. This interview is extremely special to me. We are interviewing my Uncle Ruben. He is a co-owner of a commercial construction company, 3V company, and him and my dad and all my uncles are the owners of this small business that's been around for, I guess I should know the answer to this, 30 something years. And so I guess you can say I get my entrepreneurial blood from my dad. And so although we're not interviewing my dad, I'm going to try so hard to beg him to be on camera, but we'll be interviewing my Uncle Ruben, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear his story and for me to hear it from now a business owner perspective. I've never asked some of these questions before, so I'm really excited to hear what he has to say. And I hope that you will join me on Thursday, May 21st, 7:30 p.m. Central. If you liked what you heard in this video and you think that somebody could benefit from this video, somebody that's trying to start an online business, make sure you tag them in the comments below or share the video with them via private messenger or on your Facebook wall. You guys have a great evening, and I will see you Thursday. Brie, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, bye.
Bye.